Oh, God. Oh.
In the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, one actress dominated the romantic comedy genre like no other. Meg Ryan wasn't just a movie star, she was a cultural phenomenon. With her infectious smile and that effortless girl-next-door charm, she became the woman every man wanted to date and every woman wanted to be. Her bankability was extraordinary. At her peak, Meg Ryan could open a film on her name alone. She was box office gold and Hollywood knew it. But how did a girl from Fairfield, Connecticut, named Margaret Mary Emily Ann Hyra, become one of the most beloved actresses of her generation? And more importantly, where did she go? Let's fade to black. Before she was America's sweetheart, she was Margaret Mary Emily Ann Hyra, a journalism student at New York University just trying to pay her bills. Born November 19, 1961 in Fairfield, Connecticut, Meg Ryan didn't dream of Hollywood stardom, she dreamed of being a journalist. But to make extra money while studying at NYU, she started doing TV commercials. Burger King, AIM toothpaste, that side hustle would change her life. Her first screen appearance came in 1981 when she was just 20 years old, playing Candice Bergen's daughter in Rich and Famous. It was a minor role, but it was a start. She adopted the stage name Meg Ryan using her grandmother's maiden name. Then came the real break. She was cast as Betsy Stewart on the CBS soap opera As the World Turns. She stayed for 2 years, from 1982 to 1984, and her character's romantic storyline actually boosted the show's ratings. America was starting to notice this blonde, blue-eyed actress with the effervescent personality. By 1984, Meg left the soap and moved to Los Angeles, ready for something bigger. 1986 was the year everything changed. Meg Ryan landed a small but unforgettable role in Top Gun, playing Carol Bradshaw, the wife of Goose, Anthony Edwards' character. It wasn't a lead role, but people remembered her, and they remembered that smile and energy. That was when people really started to remember my face, she later told Rolling Stone. People would stop me and say, "You're Goose's wife." That's when I knew things were changing. Later that year came Armed and Dangerous alongside John Candy and Eugene Levy. A fantastic cast on paper, but despite their comedy legends, the film was a complete miss. Critically panned with just a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes and quickly forgotten at the box office. In 1987, she starred in Promised Land, earning her first Independent Spirit Award nomination. Then came Innerspace in 1987, and this is when everything really clicked. Even as a young teen watching it, I could see the spark between her and Dennis Quaid. And that's the magic of film. Sometimes you can literally watch two people falling for each other while they're doing their jobs. She was funny, warm, bright, and there was something effortless about her. She didn't push, she didn't force it, and Hollywood spotted it instantly. Suddenly she wasn't just the girl from Top Gun, she was the girl everyone wanted in their movie. Innerspace didn't make her a superstar, but it made people pay attention to her. It's where audiences saw what she could actually do. The charm, the comic timing, the grounded vulnerability that would soon make her the face of an entire era of romance on screen. This was Meg Ryan right before the explosion, the moment just before she caught fire. In 1998, she reunited with Dennis Quaid in the noir thriller remake D.O.A. Their off-screen romance was now public, and audiences couldn't get enough of watching the real-life couple together on screen. Also in 1988, she appeared in the Presidio opposite Sean Connery and Mark Harmon, a clear signal that Hollywood was now placing her alongside heavyweight leading men. Now, this film wasn't just a hit film, it was a cultural phenomenon. Directed by Rob Reiner and written by Nora Ephron, the romantic comedy asked one simple question: can men and women really be friends? Meg Ryan's portrayal of Sally Albright opposite Billy Crystal's Harry was pitch perfect, quirky, smart, vulnerable, annoying, and very real. And then there was that scene, the fake orgasm scene in Katz's Delicatessen. I'll have what she's having. It became one of the most iconic moments in cinema history. The film grossed over $92 million. Ryan was nominated for a Golden Globe and a BAFTA. Hollywood had found its new romantic comedy queen. 1990 brought Joe Versus the Volcano, her first pairing with Tom Hanks. It was quirky, offbeat, and Ryan played 3 different roles: Dee Dee, Angelica, and Patricia. The film was a box office disappointment, but the on-screen chemistry between Ryan and Hanks was fantastic. Then in 1991, she appeared in Oliver Stone's The Doors, playing Pamela Courson, Jim Morrison's girlfriend. It showed range, and it showed that she could do drama and she could do darkness. On Valentine's Day in 1991, she married Dennis Quaid. They were Hollywood's golden couple. The 90s belonged to Meg Ryan. In 1992, she and Quaid welcomed their son Jack. Just 3 months later, she was back on set filming what would become one of her biggest hits. Sleepless in Seattle arrived in 1993, reuniting her with Tom Hanks and director Nora Ephron. The film was magic, a modern fairy tale about two people destined to be together who don't even meet until the final scene. It made $227 million worldwide and another Golden Globe nomination for Ryan. She and Hanks were officially the new Tracy and Hepburn. But Ryan was fighting typecasting. In 1994, she took on When a Man Loves a Woman, playing an alcoholic wife and mother struggling with addiction. It was very raw and unglamorous, and critics praised this surprising turn of role. But then back to lighter affair with IQ in 1994, where she played Albert Einstein's niece. 1995 brought French Kiss opposite Kevin Kline, another rom-com hit. In 1996, she went dramatic again with Courage Under Fire, a military drama alongside Denzel Washington. She lost weight, went through grueling training, and delivered a performance that proved she was more than just the girl next door. 1997 gave us her voice as the lost Russian princess in the animated Anastasia, introducing her charm to a whole new generation. Then in 1998 came City of Angels opposite Nick Cage and You've Got Mail, the third and final collaboration with Tom Hanks and Nora Ephron. You've Got Mail grossed $250 million worldwide. By the end of the decade, Meg Ryan was earning $10 to $15 million per film. She was one of the highest paid actresses in Hollywood. She could open a movie on her name alone. She was the rom-com. But behind the perfect image, problems were forming. In 2000, Meg Ryan travelled to Ecuador to film Proof of Life opposite Russell Crowe. What happened on that set would change her life forever. Ryan and Crowe began an affair, the tabloids exploded, America's Sweetheart was having an extramarital relationship. That carefully crafted image, the wholesome, lovable girl next door, shattered overnight. Dennis Quaid filed for divorce in 2000. The public largely took his side. Ryan was painted as a homewrecker, a cheater, a betrayer of the very values her rom-com characters represented. The relationship with Crowe was passionate but brief, ending in 2001. Ryan later admitted the affair wasn't the cause of her marriage ending. The marriage had been in trouble for years, but the public didn't care. The narrative was written. As Carrie Fisher told her, when you betray your archetype by doing a movie like that and getting divorced, well, you can't. Hollywood, which had bent over backward to work with her, suddenly grew cold. The rom-com queen had fallen from grace, and the industry was incredibly unforgiving. Ryan tried to continue. Kate and Leopold in 2001 was a moderate success, but things were changing. Then, in 2003, she made a bold, controversial choice. In the Cut, a dark, sexually explicit thriller directed by Jane Campion. Ryan appeared nude for the first time in her career in graphic love scenes. It was as far from Sally Albright as possible. The film bombed. Critics were divided. Audiences who wanted the wholesome Meg Ryan were shocked and confused. It grossed only $23 million. During a promotional interview on Parkinson's talk show, Ryan appeared visibly annoyed by questions about filming nude, delivering one-word responses and creating an awkward, viral moment that damaged her image further. But there was something else happening that the media seized upon. Her appearance was changing, dramatically. While Ryan has never publicly confirmed having cosmetic procedures, plastic surgeons and observers noted significant alterations to her face. Her facial structure notably different from the natural beauty that had made her famous. When she appeared at the 2016 Tony Awards, the reaction was immediate and harsh. The speculation about cosmetic surgery became another obstacle in her career. Hollywood is unforgiving about aging, but it's equally brutal about visible attempts to fight it. Suddenly, casting directors saw a face they didn't recognize. The girl next door charm that had been her trademark seemed altered and, well, frozen. Whether fair or not, the combination of the changed appearance and her tarnished public image made her less castable. Roles dried up even faster now. Against the Ropes in 2004 flopped. By the mid-2000s, the actress who once commanded 8-figure salaries was struggling to find work. In 2006, Ryan adopted a daughter from China, Daisy True Ryan, embracing single motherhood. She was stepping back, reassessing, and choosing family. What the tabloids didn't report fully was another struggle Meg Ryan was facing: her physical health. Ryan has dealt with arthritis, a degenerative condition affecting her hips. The chronic pain has sometimes caused her to walk with a noticeable limp. Hip problems and the physical limitations that come with them aren't exactly tabloid-friendly stories, but they were her reality, adding another layer of difficulty to an already challenging period. She continued working sporadically: The Women in 2008, Serious Moonlight in 2009, guest spots on Curb Your Enthusiasm and Lisa Kudrow's Web Therapy. But I think at this point she was no longer really chasing any of this. Ryan had largely retreated from Los Angeles to New York, focusing on raising Jack and Daisy away from the Hollywood machine. She dated musician John Mellencamp on and off from 2010 to 2019, even getting engaged in 2018, but that relationship ultimately ended as well. In 2015, Ryan made her directorial debut with Ithaca, a World War II drama she also starred in. The film received mixed reviews and limited distribution, but it represented something crucial. Meg Ryan was taking control of her own narrative now, moving behind the camera where her appearance couldn't be scrutinised. For years, people wondered, would Meg Ryan ever return? In 2023, she answered that question with What Happens Later, a romantic comedy she directed, produced, and starred in opposite David Duchovny. It was intimate and proved she still possessed that indefinable charm, just wielded with more wisdom, life experience, and authenticity. She's spoken openly about Hollywood's ageism and the impossible expectations placed on actresses. She's addressed the cosmetic surgery speculation by simply saying, I can't pay attention to it. I just can't. It's just not worth it. Now in her early 60s, Ryan has moved to Montecito, California, where sources say she's found peace and a new lease on life. She's embraced a Zen lifestyle with a healthy friend group, focusing on wellness and creativity. She's continuing to direct and has expressed interest in developing projects that tell stories Hollywood typically ignores. She's not married, but has spoken candidly about how dating remains just as ridiculous as ever. Her son Jack Quaid has become a successful actor in his own right, starring in The Boys and films like Oppenheimer and Scream, carrying on the family legacy. Looking back at her journey, from journalism student doing toothpaste commercials to the highest paid actress in Hollywood, Meg Ryan's story is more compelling than any script. Yes, the Russell Crowe affair was the catalyst that unravelled her career, but the deeper issue was what came after. Here was a woman with natural beauty, someone who would have aged gracefully. You could see it in her bone structure and her features. She had a timeless quality, but somewhere along the way, she altered her face to the point where audiences no longer saw Meg Ryan on screen, they saw someone else. Now look, everyone who watches this channel knows I don't primarily focus on these things, but I do think this is quite an important reason as to part of how her career faltered. This isn't a slight on her, it's about the impossible pressure to freeze yourself in time. The industry is all about beauty and allure, yes, and that pressure exists for everyone. This hasn't just happened to women. Look at Mickey Rourke, a strikingly handsome leading man in the 80s who essentially self-sabotaged through excessive cosmetic procedures and became almost unrecognisable. The pressure is on both sides. Now let's look at Tom Hanks, her co-star in those iconic films. He aged into himself naturally, he gained weight, he looked very full, but he embraced it. And yes, we understand Hollywood has particular standards for men and women, we get it, but there are many beautiful actresses who've simply aged into themselves and remained working, respected and beloved. Sometimes it does come down to accepting the inevitable. It's about how we feel about ourselves ultimately, and when you alter yourself so drastically that the softness, the warmth, the very essence that made people fall in love with you on screen is gone, well, audiences just disconnect. They no longer associate you with the characters they cherished. Meg Ryan was bankable beyond measure in the 80s and 90s. She defined an entire genre, but the choices she made, the affair, the cosmetic procedures, the attempt to hold on to something that was naturally slipping away, cost her more than any scandal could. The real lesson isn't just about Hollywood's cruelty, it's about acceptance, about understanding that aging is inevitable and fighting it too hard can cost you the very thing that made you special in the first place. Thank you so much for watching. If you really like this kind of content and enjoy retrospectives, please leave a comment, like and subscribe. It makes a really big difference to the channel. And as ever, I really do look forward to seeing you all in the next one.